We have a speaker. You know, it's an interesting thing about the nation of Israel and about everybody who looks at Israel, because people always look at Israel through their own prism, their own 6 degrees of focus, and they look at it through their own interests, and they say, well, we need this or we need that to hit my interest or to deal with my interest. There's a few idealists still out there that are looking for win-win, that are thinking, you know, both people have a stake in this, both people have a reason, both people have a legitimate ownership of the situation, and they're looking at it win-win. But then there's all these negative people out there, because these idealists are tilting at windmills. They're Don Quixote. And the people that are just picking everything apart are trying to, you know, just fight for their interests. But the thing that those people have in common, that they are just picking things apart, the thing that they all have in common is that none of them is the Deputy Speaker of the Knesset. None of them is a Secretary General of their political party. So that's an important pulpit this man has, an important position. And he brings to it a godly sense of conflict resolution. So it is my great pleasure, and we're so glad he flew all the way here just for that. It was a long journey. Yehiel Bar, the Deputy Speaker of the Knesset of Israel. Please welcome him.
Larry, thank you so much. I didn't know in the first words if you were talking about me, but thank you for your compliments. And actually, Larry, over lunch, he told me, you know, Hilik, you are famous for your efforts to bring peace between Israel and the Palestinians, to bring peace in the Middle East, and it's very encouraging to see leaders, such a young leaders in your age, that are so committed to peace. And I told him, I'm not that young anymore. He asked me, how old are you? I told him, 43. He said, wow. I told him, yeah, I know I just look much younger. But actually, those gray hairs here are kept for those who are trying, who are daring to bring peace to our poor regions. And I have to tell you seriously, Larry, that for me, for us in the Middle East, peace is not a luxury. Peace is a necessity. Peace is our obligation as leaders to the next generation. One man cannot think only about himself. And I told Larry, and Mr. Jenkins know my story for years, I joined the political life, or terrible life, you can approve that, Congressman, when I was a young soldier, an officer in the IDF, and I heard in the radio that our late Prime Minister, Yitzhak Rabin, was assassinated. Yitzhak Rabin, God bless his soul. He was assassinated for trying to achieve peace in our region. And I never thought about going to politics, but at this moment, I said that it's not acceptable to me to allow that a mission of such an amazing leader will be stopped with through bullets in his back. So I swore this day to enter politics, and I understood that if I will decide that, as you say, peace starts with me, maybe we will have a solution to the terrible reality that we're having in the Middle East. And you know what? Throughout the years, I also understood that I cannot accept the excuses that leaders in our region gives for why we cannot achieve peace. In this, leaders in the Middle East are experts of explaining us why we cannot achieve peace in the Middle East. One excuse is we don't have a partner. I think it's a defeatist approach. It's an evading from your responsibility as a leader, because what do you mean by I don't have a partner? Okay, in war and in conflict, the partner in the other side is the enemy. And I will tell you a secret, don't tell it to anyone. Usually, the enemy is not a perfect partner. Usually, enemies are not nice to each other. And I'm sure that the Palestinians also don't see us as perfect enemies, or perfect partners, to them. So we have to build the other side as a partner. This is what Yitzhak Rabin made with King Hussein and brought the peace with Jordan. This is what our late Prime Minister Menachem Begin did with Anwar Sadat and brought peace between Israel and Egypt. And actually, Jordan and Egypt were far more bigger and bitter enemies than the little poor Palestinians, and we achieved peace with them. Why? Because we had leaders that were committed to peace. There is another excuses that they are telling us in the Middle East, and I'm talking about sometimes Israeli leaders and other Arab leaders. Yes, peace maybe, but it's not the time. It's not the time in the Middle East to achieve peace. Look at the Arab Spring that became an Arab winter. It's not the time. And I'm asking, when will it be the right time in the Middle East to bring peace? And maybe an Israeli-Palestinian peace will bring the region to be more acceptable of peace. When is the right time to make peace? How many people should pay with their life for us as leaders to decide that it's time to make peace? You know, Hod, I think you participated. I hosted 2 years ago Bertie Ahern in Israel. Bertie Ahern was the Prime Minister of Ireland, and he was the one that finished, together with Tony Blair, the Northern Irish conflict. And I gave him all the excuses of why not to make peace, and is it the time or not the time to make peace? And he told me, you know what, Chilik? It took us 500 years to solve the Northern Irish conflict, which was bloodier and longer than ours. He told me it took us 500 years. You can wait. You can wait. But I will tell you, the solution that you will achieve in 500 years is the solution that you are offering now. It takes a courageous leadership to bring peace after 70 years of existence than to wait 500 years. And you know what? It's even more frustrating to not have peace in the Middle East or between Israelis and the Palestinians, while we know that an Israeli-Palestinian agreement is not only possible, but as I told you, Mohammed, earlier, most of the parameters of the future Israeli-Palestinian peace are already known. We know it. So what we are lacking of is a courageous leadership that will be willing to walk the extra mile for peace, that will be able to cross the Rubicon for peace, leader that will be fully committed to achieve peace and for peace building. And this is why I want to salute you here in the UPF, to you, Michael Jenkins, my good friend, for having this conference that brings leaders from all the nation and all over the world to discuss peace, to promote peace. And I salute you mainly because it's not a very popular sport to promote peace these days. To really promote peace, it's not popular. It's popular to talk about peace. It's popular to say, I want peace. But it's not popular to be really courageous and work really hard to achieve peace for your people. And unfortunately, the word peace became in our region no more than a lip tax and remained just a word in our prayer and in our holy books. And yes, unfortunately, too many leaders in our region in the Middle East, for them it's not really pays to try and make peace, because in order to achieve peace, you have to make the necessary painful concessions on both sides. And a lot of leaders don't want to pay or to make the necessary concessions because it's easier just to govern without making or taking difficult decisions. And unfortunately, in the Middle East today, for many leaders, it's easier to threat with war than to really try to achieve peace. And in our region, leaders never miss an opportunity for peace. And it's a talent, you have to admit. It's a talent to never miss an opportunity for peace. And we're doing it again and again. This is why we're so talented. Now, the leaders in our region are so smart that they invented a new invention. We used to have the conflict resolution that all of us know. In the Middle East, we invented the conflict management. Too many leaders rather not to solve a conflict or try to solve it, but they are preferring to manage the conflict. They are saying it's very hard to solve a conflict, so hey, let's manage it. My friends, real leaders don't manage conflict. Real leaders at least try to solve a conflict, even if it's hard, even if it's really, really hard, and we proved it to ourselves in the Middle East, that we're able on solving conflicts before, a long and bloody conflicts, and this is our duty and our obligations as leaders. And since this is a religious conference also, I have to tell you that as a Jewish leader, and I'm a very proud Jewish leader, as a Jewish person, I feel even more obligated to solve peace, or to achieve peace. Because in our Jewish scriptures, in the Jewish Torah and Halacha, in the Bible, chasing peace is not only a good deed. It's not only an act of kindness. In our scripture, chasing peace is a command from God. In Psalms 34, we say in Hebrew, Sur mera ve'aseh tov, bakesh shalom ve'rodfehu. And I will translate it. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. So for Jewish people, chasing peace and pursuing it is not a recommendation. It's a commandment. It's a precept. For a real Jewish person, as I see it, seeking peace should be a decree, an edict. Absolutely. And if we are talking about Jewish people, you know, there was a Jewish people who considered to be a smart one. His name was Albert Einstein. He said, and I quote, Judaism proved that the intellect is the best weapon in history. It is our duty as Jews to offer the world our tragic experience and our painful history. And while being faithful to our father's tradition, we must be soldiers in the battle for peace. Albert Einstein said it, and Albert Einstein was right. And as human beings that seek peace, we should respect and understand each other's narrative. We should see ourselves, as we say, in the other side's shoes. Brothers and sisters, we're all the sons of Abraham. We're definitely all the children of God. And I believe that mainly in our poor region, in the Middle East, in the Holy Land, God sometimes is looking at us fighting, killing each other, and He's ashamed of us. So when I see the efforts that UPF is making to connect people from different religions, to connect people from different backgrounds, in order to promote peace, I salute you. I truly salute you. We have here Christians, Muslims, and I'm Jewish. My religion is Judaism. But I see peace as my second religion. And I think that peace is kind of religion. And if you believe that peace starts with you, peace is your second religion too. If you see the divinity in your neighbor, peace is your religion too. If you see the divinity in your enemy, peace is your religion too. And this is why each and every one of us should work hard to achieve peace in his family, in his neighborhood, in his society, in his nation, in his region, and all around the world. Because one day we will meet personally the Almighty, and He will ask us, but more than this, we will ask ourselves one day, or our children will ask us, what did I do to promote peace? What did I really do to promote peace in my region? What did I really do in order to promise a better world, a safer world to the next generations, to our children that will be here after we will leave this world? And the answer can be tough, or we may live and be whole with the answer. And this is why each and every one of us should really strive for peace. Really, from deep inside, we should really want it. Strive for peace from the bottom of our hearts. And if we will really strive for peace, if we will really ask ourselves every single day, what did I do to promote peace? If we will really ask ourselves every single day, what can I do more in order to achieve peace? Then and only then we will study war no more. Then and only then we will be able to really achieve peace. And then and only then we will be able to dare and call ourselves peacemakers. Brothers and sisters, I don't want to speak so much. I'm a politician, I can do it, by the way. I spoke one time, by the way, Sheriff, I spoke 6 hours straight at the plenary, but the one who holds the records is your friend Miki Levy, who spoke for 12 hours. But he was a police officer like you. I guess you are facing greater dangers. But to some, I will tell you, I was also an officer in the IDF. By the way, don't understand me wrong. We're living in a crazy jungle in the Middle East, and we have enemies. We have people that don't want us there. And I always say that I split my enemies to 2 sorts of enemies. I split them to those who want to live here next to me and those who want to live here instead of me. Okay? And there are from both. There are many from both. Now, with those who want to live here instead of me, the only language I can speak with them, unfortunately, is the language of our brave soldiers in the IDF that are fighting to keep our borders. But we do have an obligation to find the path and do everything we can in order to reach our hand and find peace with those who at least say that they want to live here in the Middle East next to me and not instead of me. So this world produced enough soldiers and great commanders that fought in the worst kind of wars and battles in human history. Now it is time for us, all of us here, to work together in order to produce the best soldiers and the best commanders to fight the most worthy, important, and noble battle there is, the battle for peace. Thank you very much.